Because right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. Bob Pompeani with you until 11 o'clock tonight at 412-575-2600. By now, you know the deal. Call us, air your opinions. Hit me up on Twitter if you so like. It's at KDPomp. A lot to get into. And join us tonight, by the way, after the late news, right around midnight. We're pushed back 30 minutes because of the Bills and the Chiefs game, which went to Buffalo tonight in a very interesting matchup at 28-21. We have a nice show planned for you. On it tonight is Mark Cabali, along with Will Graves, Chris Muller. We'll get into all the stuff concerning the Steelers, the ramifications of this win. Moving forward, the trade deadline, which is this coming Tuesday, same as Election Day for the NFL. They got to figure out if they want to add to the roster or not. We'll also get into the Pitt Panthers, talking about, a ride there on 5 wins in a row with a freshman quarterback. And they are the talk of the nation right now, at least when it comes to the ACC. We'll get into that as well as the World Series, and I'd like to get your take on what you saw in that World Series. I thought it was dramatic. I thought it was highly entertaining. I also would love to see a salary cap and floor. 412-575-2600. But first, it's the Steelers who when they're playing their game defensively, this is what you see. We saw it in the New England game. You see it time and time again. Turnovers are great equalizers. They turn games around. They can make it go in your favor. As that was going on, the Cincinnati Bengals, who imploded last week at home against the Jets, imploded again today. Last week, they blew a lead and lost to the Jets at home. That was a killer loss. Today, despite how terrible that was, this was actually worse today because the Bengals had a lead at 42-41. Only like a minute left. Chicago got the ball. They're looking to get into field goal territory. They got desperate. Time was running out. They throw a pass over the middle, close to field goal range, and somehow the Cincinnati defenders allowed the guy to play ping pong off their bodies. They did not tackle him. They hit him, and he kept bouncing off. He went the distance for a touchdown, and they lose 47-42. So Joe Flacco throws for 470 yards today, 4 touchdowns, and they lose again. It's amazing how Cincinnati's defense is so bad. But, hey, they're now 3-6. They could have been 5-4 or better, and they will be here in a couple of weeks to take on the Steelers after the Steelers make the trip to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. They were winners today, by the way, the Chargers, and they had to come from behind to beat Tennessee. So we have a lot to talk about there. As I said, I'd like to get your take on the World Series. The Dodgers win and how they won was dramatic. It wasn't the big money price players who came through. Yeah, they had their moments, but in this game, it was 2 very highly unknown players who made spectacular plays. Miguel Rojas, who was inserted for defensive purposes the night before, stayed in the game last night in Game 7, and he made a beautiful play at home plate. At first I thought Toronto was going to win on that play, but by just a fraction of an inch, they were turned aside. And then it was Andy Pages, who was in center field defensively. He made a catch that, I thought for sure Clement had a series-winning double. Instead, it's an out they play on, and the Dodgers end up winning. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. Let me know what you think on all these topics and more as we'll take your phone calls next, right here live. It's KDKA+. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We'll be right back. All right, this is our Xfinity tweet of the night. Aaron Rodgers threw the Steelers' first 8 games, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, a very good QBR. Record 5-3, and he is 41 years of age. He's getting it done by using smart, his IQ, all the stuff that you would expect from someone who's won 4 NFL MVP awards, and he's staying away from making the big interceptions. A lot of these younger guys make them. Over his career, he's been very good about protecting the football, and he's been that way here in Pittsburgh, just 5 interceptions through 8 games. Now, as I said before, great equalizer, you know what that is? That's turnovers. That can turn a game around completely, and it did today. But there are some things that still concern me with the Steelers that I think they have to improve on. Number one, now Indianapolis went 5 for 5 on 4th down. That's tough, and it's a percentage you don't like to see. But on the other side, 3rd down efficiency, the Steelers are only 4 for 12 themselves, and they got to get better on 3rd downs. There's going to come a time when there are no turnovers, and your defense should be expected to win without turnovers. That is 3 and outs, short fields. You just deny people from getting big plays against you and win a game that way, and not just expect 4 or 5 turnovers. When you get them, that's great, and they're good at getting them. But when they don't get them, you still have to win games that way. The other thing that concerns me, too, is just the Pittsburgh rushing totals. In this game, only 23 carries and 38 yards, 1.7 yards per carry. Now, they didn't do it as much. Jaylen Warren got 16 carries. That's more than he had last week when they kind of went away from him in the second half, but 1.9 average. They got to do better than that. As I said, they were outgained yardage-wise by Indianapolis. Indianapolis had more first downs. There's still some trends there that need to change. You can't do that all the time and expect to win without the turnovers. The turnovers, sure, make a big difference, but without them, you still have to be able to win games, and that's going to be something the Steelers, I'm sure, work on as they get set for the Chargers, and then after that, the Cincinnati Bengals come to Pittsburgh, and after that, Steelers at Bears, and then Bills at Steelers, and the Bills were big winners today against Kansas City. So let's get what thoughts you have on this and other things. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. Let's begin with Eric in Johnstown. Hello, Eric. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good. What's up?
First off, I want to shout out to the Steelers today. T.J. Watt and defense did a really good job to beat the Colts. I was really shocked and surprised today. Hopefully they can keep this up for the end of the year. And I wanted to bring maybe a little known fact that maybe Inster did or didn't know about the World Series. Savage that pitched for the Toronto Blue Jays. I hope they would have won it because L.A., their big money and all that, players. But Savage was actually from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. He grew up there,
Right.
And his parents were from Pennsylvania, which is too bad he wasn't pitching for the Pirates, but I wished he would have won it being a Pennsylvania boy here,
My cousin Mark Jula is a coach, and he knew a bunch of people. He was texting me about this kid. He knew about him, where he came from, his family heritage there. And yes, Trey Savage was just that, a savage. It's an amazing story when you consider started the season at single A in front of, a couple of hundred people a night at that ballpark where they play. And he worked his way up to the point where he is in the World Series, and he was a difference maker. And boy, that's a young player that Toronto is very happy to have. But thank you for making that call. And yeah, by the way, Toronto is also spending a lot of money too, $285 million total payroll. But thing is, both of those teams, the Dodgers and Toronto, try to reinvest into their product. And while I think, as I said many times before, a salary cap and floor is needed in baseball, it also helps when you have an ownership that is willing to reinvest in your product, in your roster, in your payroll. The Pirates have been reluctant to do that, and they need to do more of that in order to get where they have to go, especially with a guy like Paul Skeens on their roster for hopefully a few more years. But I give the Dodgers credit. As much as people want to say they ruin baseball, they're just doing what any team would do, which has aspirations of winning. Now, is it tough to watch? Yes. I was hoping Toronto would win that series as well. Boy, they had so many opportunities. The night before, getting doubled off second base on a 7-4 double play to end the game. You never see that. And last night, so many chances to win. Ernie Clement hit that one, and he turned out to be a tremendous postseason player. Most hit of anyone in a postseason. Ernie Clement, who knew? And he looked like he had the series winner, and a beautiful catch there by Andy Pajes denied him. Lauren in Scott Township is up next. Hello, Lauren. How are you?
Hey, Bob. I wanted to call and talk about the Ohtani rule, and then taking into consideration how unlikely it is for a team to actually have a player to meet those qualifications. Is that something that should maybe be okay to use during the regular season?
When you say Ohtani
not
rule,
so much in the World Series.
What are you talking about, the
Series.
Ohtani rule? What is that?
About how he's allowed to pitch as a starter and also hit.
Yeah. I mean, they can do what they want with him in the batting order. I mean, if he's on the mound, he can do that. I mean, if I had some guy like that, why wouldn't you want that? He can do it all, and that's why they have him pitching and hitting in the same game. That's fine with me. I didn't know there was such a rule. Maybe I'm in the dark there. Let's go to Bob in Beachview, who joins us right now. Hey, Bob, how are you?
Hi, Bob. Say, listen, you guys are great in the last
Thanks.
week or so, but you were saying the same thing I saw, that the Steelers looked like an old team that couldn't keep up with the younger, bigger dimensioned players. And then tonight you show that the Steelers didn't do so good, and all of a sudden it occurred to me that maybe Indianapolis came in here asleep in their own dream. They scored, but they weren't really alert.
Well, I mean, that can happen. And the NFL is full of teams that, lose when you don't expect them to lose. They've been playing at such a high level. Sooner or later, they're going to have one of these kinds of games. Not only that, I thought Shane Steichen, who's a very good offensive mind, no doubt. But he came out, and even though they were successful on that first drive, 13 plays, 79 yards, they did not use Jonathan Taylor in that at all, almost as if they're trying to outsmart everyone and pass the ball first. They were successful at it, but they also got away from Taylor. He only touched the ball 11 times for 45 yards. He is your workhorse. He's an MVP candidate, and the Steelers today kind of put a pin in the balloons of both Jonathan Taylor, Offensive Player of the Year campaign, and Daniel Jones, his MVP potential campaign. Jones looked like he did in New York several times, but that's what pressure will do to you. And the Steelers, give them credit. They came after with a passion we haven't seen pretty much all season long. But they are a team that wants to turn the ball over. They are a team that wants to do what they did today. Again, I love that. If you can do it, routinely, it makes a big difference. But there are going to be games when you don't do that. And again, being out yardaged, it seems like week after week, that's a problem. You've got to be better on third down conversions. You got to stop the other team on their third down conversions and fourth down conversions for that matter. So those are still things that need to be fixed as they move ahead. 412-575-2600. We have our KDKA.com Connect poll tonight. Penn West University sponsors it. Do you feel more confident about the Steelers defense moving forward after what you saw today? Let us know by hitting up KDKA.com/connect. Now let's go to Dave in the North Shore. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Bob?
Good. What's up?
Okay. Hey, I would just like the fans and the people. Tomlin did a great job today as far as bringing his team back, and this looked like a defense for the first half against Green Bay, and aggressive and they were like they were in sync. They weren't out of place,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did a good job throughout the game. I thought one of the keys to watch, especially after you mentioned the Green Bay game, they got their first 3 possessions of the second half against the Steelers and erased a 9-point deficit very quickly. And they scored 3 straight touchdowns against the Steelers. It's almost like they switched on this switch that made a big difference as the Steelers went the other way. Well, today, they were up at halftime, 17-7. Indy got the ball to start the third quarter, and they were stopped immediately. They only had 2 possessions in that third quarter, and they got nothing on each. I thought that was important for the Steelers to maintain the lead heading into the fourth quarter, and it was tough for Indianapolis to catch up for sure. Let's go out to Steve in West Mifflin. Hey, Steve, how are you?
I'm doing good, Bob. How you doing?
I'm well. What's up?
I just have a conspiracy theory for you here. See, I'm sure you remember not too long ago in baseball when they said the ball was juiced.
Yeah.
And all these people were hitting a lot of home runs. Well, I think the football is juiced because when somebody kicked a 68-yarder.
Yeah, Cam Little, the same guy we saw in Jacksonville do it from 70 yards. He did it from 68, so that's the record.
Yeah, and it's not just him.
Yeah.
It seems like it's like average for 50 and over. Like everybody's kicking these long distance.
Even college
field
kids.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, I want to tell you, what happened after that game? Cam Little got a message from the NFL that he needs a drug test starting tomorrow. How about that? Think that's coincidence? It's funny to me, and it's a compliment, I think. If you're Cam Little, now they think I'm juicing to hit the ball 68 yards. He did it in the preseason. Nobody got juiced or nobody got, a test for that. And now all of a sudden, 68 yards in a regular season game, and it just so happens he gets the notice. I find that funny and interesting as well. But 68 yards, that kid has a leg. There's no question about it. All right, Nancy, we'll get to you when we come back. It's 412-575-2600. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call right here live on KDKA+. All right, welcome back. One other note about Pitt Volleyball. They're an outstanding program year in and year out. They're 4th ranked in the country right now. Had a big win today against number 21 UNC North Carolina down at Chapel Hill. And Olivia Babcock, once again, was outstanding. She bested her own record today. 2 weeks ago, she set it with 42 kills. Today, 45 kills. It's an amazing story. She is, and she is the defending National Player of the Year, and she's going to do it again this year as Pitt wins in a tough match. It went 5 different sets there in North Carolina. All right, so we're talking about the Steelers' next several games here. You have the Steelers at the Chargers Sunday night in L.A. Now, they're underdogs heading into this game. So we can play a little game here of what's going to happen to them. I suspect that's a tough one. They may lose that game. Then you have the Bengals. They got to beat the Bengals here. As bad as the defense is, somehow they lost that game in Cincinnati. by playing some bad defense of their own. They got to win that game. So that makes them instead 6-5-4, 6-4. Then they have at the Bears, which can go any way. The Bears have been capable of beating good teams and also losing to bad teams. And then after that, Buffalo comes to Pittsburgh. Before we go, let's go out to Nancy in Tarentum. Nancy, how are you?
Hi, Bob. How you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Hey, I wanted to know about Mason Rudolph. Why couldn't they, when they're so far ahead, why couldn't they put him in and let him play? It's like he hasn't played at all this year.
Well, he played a couple of snaps, and he wasn't going to play today. It wasn't anywhere near being a win at any point. The final was 27-20, and I know the odds were very much against Indianapolis, but he's not getting in the game unless there's an injury or they're really well ahead, later down the road. So anyway, we'll see what happens next week. It's the Chargers out west. It's a Sunday night game. That's always difficult to go out west and then fly back and get ready for the Bengals, who will be here the following Sunday. But that's where the Steelers are. 2-game lead at this point. They're division leaders. Everyone up there should like that. They need to do what they did a few years ago and not what happened last year when they fell apart down the stretch. They got some tough games, but Aaron Rodgers is a difference maker, especially in the red zone. We've seen that again today. He is very intelligent about where that ball goes. He doesn't make mistakes in that red zone, and they right now are one of the top teams in red zone production. That's going to do it for us. Join us for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. It's coming up tonight after the late news on KDKA. For everyone here, I'm Bob Pompeani. Have a good week, and we'll see you again tomorrow night right here at 10:35.